In addition to the knowledge and skills you'll gain, you're also going to practice thinking like a programmer. And we're going to focus on 5 ways of thinking that all programmers must do, and you already have experience in all of them. The first is procedural thinking, and this involves taking a big problem and breaking the solution into a set of steps. 1, 2, 3. The next way of thinking is called abstract thinking. And if you couldn't do abstract thinking, you may know that if someone gave you one apple and then another, you'd have 2. But if someone asked you what happened when they gave you one orange and then another orange, you might have no idea. But because you do have an understanding of the abstract idea of numbers, you know that you have 2 oranges. But even more importantly, you know the abstract idea that 1 plus 1 is 2. The next programmatic way of thinking is a systematic way of solving problems, or systematic debugging. Because even the best programmers make mistakes, and this is the skill where they systematically identify problems or potential problems and then track down potential causes until they find the problem and fix it. The fourth mental technique is called technological empathy, and it involves understanding how the computer sees things. And you've already started developing this. Now, when you see text like this, you can start to think about it the way a computer would. You may already be thinking that the is should be bold. The fifth technique that we're going to keep coming back to is called systems thinking. This may sound a little intimidating, but basically this just involves taking one big idea, like what does it mean to think like a programmer, and break it down into its component pieces. Because we're going to keep coming back to these 5 ways of thinking, next you'll see a text summary of all of them. You can just skim it for now. I'll link back to it as appropriate.
Step 1 is about picking the views that you want to use. First, I should explain what exactly a view in Android is. Simply put, a view is a rectangle on the screen that shows some content. It can be an image, a piece of text, or a button, or anything else that the app can display. Now, these individual views make up what we call the layout of the screen. Everything about what you see and interact with in your app is called the user interface, or UI for short. There are different types of views with different names. A view that shows some text is called a text view. Here are some examples. A view that shows an image is called an image view, and these are some examples. A view that shows a button is called, well, a button, and these are some examples. Now, there are many other types of views in Android which are really helpful to use, but we're going to focus on these three first. Earlier I mentioned that every view is a rectangle on the screen, but where are all the rectangles? Well, technically they're invisible, but I will draw them for you so you can see where the bounds of each rectangle is. As you can see, every app can be broken down into the individual views that make it up. In other words, a view is the basic building block that you use to build up the layout for your app. To help you understand the idea of views being rectangles on the screen, here's a situation you may be more familiar with. If you ever use an application like Paint or Google Drawings, then you may have added a text box to the canvas. Then you type in your text. If you click outside of it, though, you don't see the bounds of the rectangle, but they are there. And the bounds actually do start to matter when you start to do things like adding a background color or adding a border around it. Then it does matter how big the rectangle out that the format of these view names is in camel case. Camel case means that there are no spaces in between words and the beginning of each word is capitalized. The reason why it's called camel case is because the outline of the word goes up and down like the humps of a camel's back. You're going to be seeing camel case more throughout this course. Okay, let's practice what you learned. This is a screenshot of the new email app from Google called Inbox. Can you identify the different types of views here? To help you, I've highlighted the individual views. For example, for A, can you tell me if it's a text view, an image view, or a button? Do the same for B, as well as the rest of the views. Together. First, at the top of the screen, we have this blue envelope with a checkbox. This is an image, so this is what we call an image view. Next, we have these three pieces of text, and there are three different text views because they each have different font styles in terms of font size and font color. And they're also positioned in three different places on the screen. So we mark these as text views. The last one here is a button that the user can tap to sign in, so we choose button. Good job if you got those answers correct, but if not, no worries, we're going to practice some more.